Thank you for being here today, and thank you for allowing yourself to enter this space exactly as you are. Today, I want to talk about something many grieving people feel, but almost nobody talks about it openly: anger. Because after losing someone we love, grief does not always arrive as a sadness. Sometimes it arrives as irritation, frustration, resentment. Sometimes it becomes rage, a furious fire moving through the body with nowhere to go. When the heart experiences a loss, it cannot fully understand. Pain often transforms into anger. You become angry at doctors, at family, at yourself, at life, and the person who left. And sometimes you don't even know why you are angry. You just are. In Buddhism, anger is not seen as evil. It is seen as suffering, searching for somewhere to go. A wounded mind trying to protect itself. Because underneath anger, there is often helplessness, fear, shock, a sorrow too overwhelming to touch directly. So the mind creates fire. Because fire feels stronger than grief. There is a father who lost his teenage son. His son had gotten into a fight at school. A moment of anger between two boys. And in that moment, one boy killed the other. That morning before school, his son had begged him for a new phone. The father laughed and told him, "Do better in school first, and I promise I'll buy it for you." 5 hours later, someone called and told him his son was dead. Reality became impossible for him to accept. He became numb. He denied it. Part of him kept waiting for his son to walk through the front door. Part of him believed there had been a mistake. And slowly, his grief became rage. He replayed every moment endlessly. The hospital should have done more. I should have told him to stay home. I should have bought him the phone. This should never have happened. Again and again and again. His mind searched desperately for someone to blame. Who do I blame? What could I have changed? Because blame gave the illusion of control. Sorrow felt unbearable, but anger felt powerful. And the anger spread everywhere, into his sleep, into his body, into his marriage, into every conversation. Until one day, he became frightened of himself. He thought, this is not who I am. Because anger has a hidden cost. It traps the nervous system inside the moment of pain. The body remains at work long after the moment has passed, and slowly grief hardens. The heart cannot control the loss, so it reaches for blame instead. One day, the father went to the jail to confront the boy who killed his son. Part of him wanted to revenge. Part of him wanted to pour his pain onto someone else, to make someone hurt the way he hurt. But when he finally stood in front of the boy, he could not speak because suddenly he saw another father sitting there too. A father whose son was now living with unbearable guilt. A father whose child would spend his life carrying the knowledge that in one moment of anger, he had destroyed multiple lives. And the boy quietly whispered, we were just so angry. In that moment, the grieving father saw something clearly for the first time. One moment of unconsciousness anger had taken his son's life, and now the same anger was destroying him from the inside as well. He saw the suffering spreading outward like fire. His family, the other family, friends, classmates, teachers, everyone burned by the same moment. And he realized something deeply. His resistance to reality had become rage because the mind could not accept what the heart could not change. Nothing could bring his son back. Nothing could undo what had happened. But the energy inside him still needed it somewhere to go. So eventually, he made a different choice. Instead of allowing pain to destroy him, he transformed it into purpose. He reached out to the other father, and together they began visiting schools, sharing their stories with the students, warning them about the danger of uncontrolled anger. One father had a son in a coffin, The other had a son in prison. Both had lost their children, just differently. One day, a student asked him, "How did you forgive them?" The father became quiet. Then he said, "I never thought about forgiveness. I only saw pain. My son is in a coffin, and his son is in a prison. They are both trapped." That is when compassion began, not because he approved of what happened, not because the pain disappeared, but because he finally saw that everyone involved was suffering. Everyone was trying to survive something unbearable. And that awareness slowly transformed his anger into compassion. The father later said, "I never want anybody, another person, to experience this kind of a pain. If sharing our story can prevent even one tragedy, then my son's life continues to help others." The Buddha once said that anger is like holding a hot coal with the intention of throwing it at someone else before it burns another person. It burns the hand holding it. Healing does not begin with anger disappears. Healing begins when we stop being afraid of what we feel. Sometimes anger is grief demanding to be witnessed. Sometimes it is love with nowhere to go. And sometimes it is the cry of a heart that never got to say goodbye. The storm inside you does not mean you are broken. It means something mattered deeply. So today, instead of fighting your anger, try listening beneath it. What is the pain trying to say? What sorrow is hiding underneath the fight? Maybe the anger was never the deepest emotion. Maybe it was grief, asking not to abandon too. Today, you do not need to force yourself into peace. You do not need to move on. There are no right answers. Maybe healing begins simply by being honest enough to say, "Yes, part of me is angry," meeting with understanding. And instead of saying, "I'm an angry person," we begin to see anger is moving through me right now. And that small shift creates space. And in that space, loving kindness can begin. Not all at once, not perfectly, but gentle, moment by moment, breath by breath. Thank you for being here today. And if this conversation resonated with you, feel free to share your experience in the comments. What has anger after loss looked like for you? Your word may help someone else feel less alone. We'll see you next time. Thank you.